India Radio. I am Anubha Rohatgi, and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the Midday News. The headlines. Government calls all-party meet ahead of monsoon session of Parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and prominent leaders of opposition attend. 25 people killed in wall collapse and landslide incidents in Mumbai following heavy rain. President and Prime Minister express grief. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 40 crore doses mark. COVID recovery rate stands at 97.31%. Odisha conducts over 1.5 crore COVID tests. 10-day curfew begins in Manipur to contain spike in COVID cases. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha tells Jammu and Kashmir officials to take proactive steps to facilitate the return of Kashmiri Pandit community. Death toll due to floods in Western Germany and Belgium rises to 170. Hundreds are still missing. And in cricket, first of the three-match ODI series between India and Sri Lanka to be played in Colombo today. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also to help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today chaired an all-party meet at Parliament House ahead of the monsoon session of Parliament beginning tomorrow. The meeting was convened to seek support of political parties to ensure smooth functioning of both the houses of Parliament. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Commerce and Industries Minister Piyush Goyal, Leader of Congress in Lok Sabha Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, TMC MP Derek O'Brien and DMK's Tiruchi Siva were among those who attended the meeting. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi said that after the meeting, more than 40 leaders of 33 parties participated in it. Leaders of political parties gave their suggestions during the meeting. Mr. Joshi said Prime Minister said all the suggestions of the MPs are valuable. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has also called for a meeting of floor leaders today. The monsoon session of Parliament begins tomorrow and will conclude on the 13th of next month. The session will have 19 sittings of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu yesterday held a meeting of floor leaders of different political parties. Sources said the Rajya Sabha Chairman urged parliamentarians to stand by the people in the light of the situation caused by COVID and discuss all related issues. Mr. Naidu stressed that a dysfunctional parliament adds to the prevailing gloom and hence all sections of the House should ensure a smooth and productive session to address the concerns of people affected by COVID. He said that the second wave sprang several surprises and severely tested the health infrastructure in the country. The News Services Division of All India Radio will bring you special discussion programs, Issues Before Parliament and Sansad Ke Samaksh Midday at 9:30 tonight. The Issues Before Parliament program can be heard on FM Rainbow channel and Sansad Ke Samaksh Midday will be on the FM Gold channel. Aparajita Sarangi from BJP, Dr. Ami Yagnik from Congress, Amarjit Kaur from CPI and Dr. Seema Malik from NCP will participate in the program. It can be heard live on News on AIR app and News on AIR official YouTube channel. In Mumbai, 25 people have been reported dead and several injured in 3 separate incidents of landslides and wall collapse following heavy overnight rain. The incidents took place at Chembur, Vikhroli and Bhando. In Chembur area, 17 people are reported to have been killed in a wall collapse, while in Vikhroli, 7 hutman dwellers were killed as 5 shanties collapsed after a landslide following incessant rains through the night. 1 person was also reported dead in a wall collapse incident in Bhandop. AIR spoke to National Disaster Response Force NDRF Maharashtra Commandant Anupam Srivastav. He said 16 persons have been rescued and a few were hospitalized, and the rescue operation is still underway.
चेंबूर वाशी नाका में जो लैंडस्लाइड हुआ था उसमें जो हमको रिपोर्ट मिली है उसमें एक और डेड बॉडी रिकवर की गई है। तो अभी कुल मिलाकर चेंबूर में 18 डेड बॉडी रिकवरी की सूचना मिली है। जहां तक विक्रोली की बात है तो विक्रोली में पहले से ही जो 7 डेड बॉडी की खबर थी, 7 लोगों के मरने की खबर, वो आंकड़ा अभी तक वहीं पर है। और जो ये जो ऑपरेशन चल रहे हैं इसमें अभी तो मुंबई में बारिश नहीं हो रही है, लेकिन जो रात को बारिश हुई है उस वजह से दोनों इलाकों में जो मलबा आया है, मिट्टी का मलबा नीचे आया है, वो पानी के साथ मिलकर बिल्कुल बहुत ही कीचड़ और दलदल टाइप की स्थिति हो गई है वहां पर। तो इस तरह से वहां से मिट्टी को निकालना, मलबे को निकालना वो रेस्क्यू टीम्स के लिए बहुत मुश्किल साबित हो रहा है। हमारी टीम पूरी लगी हुई है इसमें और कैनाइन स्क्वाड भी लगा हुआ है।
President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have expressed grief over the incidents. The President said in a tweet he is saddened by the news of casualties and expressed his condolences to the bereaved families. The Prime Minister said his thoughts are with the bereaved families and wished for the speedy recovery of those injured. 2 lakh rupees from Prime Minister's National Relief Fund would be given to the next of kin of those who lost their lives due to the wall collapses in Mumbai. 50,000 rupees would be given to those injured. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has also expressed grief over the deaths and announced that the government would pay 5 lakh rupees each to the next of the kin of the deceased, and free treatment would be given to the injured. The residents of Krantinagar area of Kurla have been shifted to a safer place, that is a nearby municipal school, as Methi River has reached to a dangerous level. The low-lying areas of the suburbs including Dadar, Parel, Hindmata, Matunga, etc. in Mumbai have been flooded. Many mails and express and local service schedules departing from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus have collapsed, and many trains had to be cancelled due to torrential rains. Local trains from Kalyan to Mumbai were closed for some time. Heavy waterlogging was seen in many areas of Palghar. Shubhangi Phute of IMD said that a red alert has been issued in Mumbai and Konkan region for the next 2 to 3 days. Maharashtra is receiving heavy rains for the past several days. Raigad district in Maharashtra has received an average rainfall of 118.29 millimeters in the last 24 hours.
India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed the landmark of 40 crore doses. The Health Ministry said more than 40 crore 49 lakh vaccination doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive, with more than 51 lakh vaccine doses administered in the past 24 hours. The recovery rate is at 97.31%. More than 42,000 patients recovered during the previous 24 hours. Till now, more than 3 crore 2 lakh people have recovered from COVID-19. The country reported 41,000 new cases in the last 24 hours. In the same period, 518 deaths were reported. The country's active caseload is currently at 4,22,660, that is 1.36% of the total cases. The weekly positivity rate remains below 5% at 2.08%. The daily positivity rate is at 2.13%, which has been less than 3% for 27 consecutive days. In Odisha, cumulative COVID-19 tests have crossed the 1.5 crore mark. Out of the total tests conducted so far, 6.35% samples have tested positive. The state of late has been conducting about 70,000 sample tests per day.
While the state reported 2,215 positive cases during the last 24 hours, the cumulative cases have since gone beyond 9,54,000. However, the cumulative recovery too has crossed 9,27,000. Meanwhile, the state has reported 66 deaths due to COVID-19, making the pandemic-related fatalities cross 5,000. Odisha has been reporting 60-plus fatalities daily since the last week, the highest being 68 on the 13th of this month. Girish Chandradas, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The Odisha government has decided to begin physical classes for class 10th and 12th from the 26th of July. However, attending physical classes will be the students' decision. Online classes will continue for the rest, including 10th and class 12th. The state government will soon issue SOPs for the same. The state government has asked all of its departments and subordinate officers to function with full strength of employees from Monday. The direction came as the COVID situation has slightly improved in the state.
In Manipur, the test positivity rate of COVID-19 remains high despite the government's efforts to combat the virus by conducting house-to-house testing and mass vaccination campaigns. Meanwhile, the state gets into a 10-day curfew from today to contain the spike in COVID cases. A report from our Imphal correspondent.
The situation of COVID-19 pandemic in Manipur is not encouraging compared to other states of the country. 1,171 were confirmed as new COVID-19 positive case yesterday only out of the 6,942 samples tested for the virus. The positive rate also remained high in the current month, having above 10% and reported above 19% also. The fatality rate due to the pandemic is also high, and so far 1,365 deaths reported in the state. The present recovery rate is 87.10 and active case stand at 9,447. Meanwhile, the 10 days curfew in the entire state of Manipur begins from today. This time, the paramilitary force are also deployed in the curfew and strict measures are taken up to implement the curfew in true spirit. JJ Thoksong from Imphal for AIR News.
The Mizoram government has decided to impose a stricter lockdown from midnight tonight till the 24th of this month. The 7-day total lockdown will be imposed in the Aizawl Municipal Corporation area, while in other parts of the state, the district administration will impose restrictions based on the COVID situation at the local level. The state government has taken this decision to control the surge in transmission of coronavirus. The order stated that it is necessary to impose more restrictions on the movement of people and their activities to control and prevent the spread of the pandemic. The order said that the movement of people during this period, including casual visit of neighbors and families residing in the same building, is strictly prohibited.
In Madhya Pradesh, the COVID-19 test positivity rate has come down to 0.01%. However, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has called for caution in view of the possibility of a third wave of infection. A report.
In the official health bulletin, yesterday only 11 new cases of corona were found in the state. At the same time, 23 patients recovered. 2 new cases were reported in Bhopal, 4 in Indore, and 1 each in Tikamgarh and Jabalpur. Yesterday, 1,41,686 people were vaccinated. So far, 2,51,56,976 people have been vaccinated in the state. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan yesterday once again cautioned the people of the state about the third wave of infection and appealed to follow the corona protocol. Rashid Ahmed Khan, AIR News, Bhopal.
In West Bengal, Kolkata has reported 0 COVID deaths for the first time in 3 months. According to the latest data released by the State Health Department, 8 fresh fatalities have been reported in the state. However, the number of new COVID-19 cases has risen again as 899 cases were reported in the past 24 hours. The total number of COVID cases has now risen to 15,17,380. The state government has directed the district authorities to strictly implement COVID-induced restrictions and night curfew put in place due to the pandemic. They have been asked to impose fines and take appropriate action against violators as per provisions of the Disaster Management Act. COVID-induced restrictions with some relaxations are in place in the state till the 30th of July. In Assam, COVID-19 vaccination drive is being carried out across the state. Senior health officials informed that 87,68,000 doses of the vaccine have been administered so far. Over 72 lakh people got their first dose of the vaccine, while nearly 15,30,000 people have got both doses of vaccine. Our correspondent reports that vaccination teams are making all efforts to reach out to the adult population for vaccination in difficult areas.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has asked health officials to further intensify COVID vaccination across the state. Mr. Kumar said only COVID protocol and mass vaccination can avert the third wave of corona. The Chief Minister asked officials to vaccinate at least 2 lakh people every day.
प्रतिदिन लोगों का टेस्टिंग ये बहुत जरूरी है और प्रतिदिन कम से कम 2 लाख की टेस्टिंग होनी चाहिए। तो अब उसी दिशा में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। कोशिश हो रही है कि टेस्टिंग जितना करेंगे, लोगों का जांच करेंगे, तभी पता चलेगा कोई पीड़ित है, पॉजिटिव है, तो तुरंत उनका उपाय किया जा सकता है।
Bihar is witnessing a sharp decline in new COVID cases. No new case has been reported from 9 districts including Navada, Sitamarhi and Vaishali. The state's recovery rate has risen to 98.57%, while the test positivity rate has declined to below 1%. The number of active cases is also decreasing and presently stands at 754.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Government calls all-party meet ahead of monsoon session of Parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and prominent leaders of opposition attend. 25 people killed in wall collapse and landslide incidents in Mumbai following heavy rains. President and Prime Minister express grief. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 40 crore doses mark. COVID recovery rate stands at 97.31%. Odisha conducts over 1.5 crore COVID tests. 10-day curfew begins in Manipur to contain spike in COVID cases. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha tells Jammu and Kashmir officials to take proactive steps to facilitate the return of the Kashmiri Pandit community. Death toll due to floods in West Germany and Belgium rises to 170, hundreds still missing. And in cricket, first of the 3-match ODI series between India and Sri Lanka to be played in Colombo today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The child helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. Ayush COVID-19 counselling helpline number is 14443 and MyGov WhatsApp help desk number is 9013151515.
Welcome back to the Midday News. The BJP today said the agenda of the news click and some portals is to spread propaganda of a foreign nation and defame India. Speaking to media in New Delhi, party spokesperson Dr. Sambit Patra said some foreign powers and some politicians have teamed up to spread the unrest. He said this is part of an international toolkit. Dr. Patra said NewsClick is a portal which tries to portray itself as a media house and has received crores of rupees from abroad in a suspicious manner. Dr. Patra alleged that the portal's motive is to portray India's system as a failed one and spread foreign propaganda in India.
We have seen this most important news article today as to how money trade in fact was there from foreign nations, as to how dubious characters were involved, and the only agenda of these so-called portals, and in this particular one, the portal called NewsClick, the only agenda is propaganda of a foreign nation and demeaning India's name.
Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir Manoj Sinha has said government officials must take proactive steps to facilitate the return to Kashmir of Kashmiri Pandit community, which fled their homes and settled in various parts of the country. The Lieutenant Governor was speaking during a review meeting of the functioning of Disaster Management, Relief, Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Department in Srinagar yesterday. Mr. Sinha said that there are many families living in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and other parts of the country and abroad which are willing to return to their homes. He said officials of the Union Territory government must roll out an extensive exercise to reach out to them through proper means of communication. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha exhorted the officers to ensure that the entire population of Kashmiri Pandits is registered with Jammu and Kashmir government, as many people yearn for their old lives and would like to return to their homeland in Kashmir. He also instructed the officers to ensure that the benefits of Kashmiri migrants must reach to all the communities which are falling under the said category. While inquiring about the present status of 6,000 transit flats for migrant employees in Kashmir Valley, he was informed that 208 units are constructed at Kulgam, 96 units are constructed in Badgam, besides 1,200 transit accommodations are coming up at Gandrabal, Shopian, Bandipora, Baramulla, Kupwara, and land for other 2,744 units has been identified at 7 different locations in Kashmir Valley. This is Sunil Kohl for AR News from Srinagar.
Minister of Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari has said the registration process of vintage motor vehicles has to be formalized with an aim to preserve and promote the heritage of vintage vehicles. Mr. Gadkari said with no existing rules for regulating the process of registration across different states, the new rules shall provide a hassle-free process. He said the salient features include retention of old number for already registered vehicles and a VA Series unique registration mark for fresh registrations. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has amended the Central Motor Vehicles Rule 1989. Our correspondent reports that all 2- and 4-wheelers over 50 years old, maintained in their original form without any substantial overhaul, shall be defined as vintage motor vehicles. The State Registering Authority shall issue a certificate of registration within 60 days. Vehicles already registered can retain their original registration mark. Vintage motor vehicles shall not be driven on roads for regular and commercial purposes. In Assam, a target has been set to provide household water connection to 22 lakh families this year under the Jal Jeevan Mission. Participating in an AIR talk show last night, Commissioner Secretary in Public Health Engineering Department Akashdeep said that despite COVID pandemic, efforts are on to fulfill the target. He said that a total of 63 lakh households are to be provided pure drinking water by 2024 under the Jal Jeevan Mission in Assam. Mr. Akashdeep said that tea garden areas, schools and Anganwadi centers are also to be provided tap water connections on priority basis.
Taking a major step to boost garment exports, the government last night approved the continuation of rebate of state and central taxes and levies (ROSCTL) on export of apparel, garments and made-ups. The ROSCTL scheme will continue till 31st March 2024 and will boost Indian garments export in global market. Secretary, Ministry of Textiles, Upendra Prasad Singh, in an exclusive interview to All India Radio News, said the continuation of ROSCTL for apparel, garments and made-ups is expected to make these products globally competitive.
Government decided to delink with the rod tap because it is expected that ROSCTL rates are higher than the rod tape rates. And in the last Wednesday, in the cabinet chaired by Honorable Prime Minister, it has been decided that ROSCTL, which was continuing till 31st December 2020, would continue now from 1st January 2021 till 31st March 2024 at the rate at which it was the rebate was being provided up to 31st December 2020.
To listen to the in-depth discussion with Mr. Singh, tune in to the Spotlight program tonight at 9:15 on FM Gold. The death toll in devastating floods in Western Germany and Belgium has risen to at least 170. Nearly 140 people have died in the floods in Germany. In Belgium, the National Crisis Center said that the death toll has risen to 27. It added that 103 people are missing or are unreachable. Days of heavy rain led to swelling of minor rivers and caused disastrous flooding, sweeping away cars, engulfing homes and trapping residents. In Germany, receding floodwaters eased access across much of the affected regions and revealed the extent of the damage. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier said after meeting rescue workers in Erftstadt that a lot of people have lost everything they spent their lives building up. Mr. Steinmeier said that people in the affected areas need continuing support.
The annual 5-day Hajj pilgrimage commenced today in Saudi Arabia on a drastically reduced scale due to the coronavirus pandemic globally. Saudi authorities have restricted the number of pilgrims to 60,000 local residents who began their journey from the holy city of Mecca to assemble in the city of Mina. They will spend the night there and move towards the plains of Arafat at dawn tomorrow for the day's main ritual of Hajj, reciting prayers. This year, Hajj will be limited to the people between the ages of 18 and 65 and those who have been vaccinated. Around 2.5 million pilgrims, including a record 2 lakh pilgrims from India, performed Hajj in 2019 before the pandemic outbreak. Sports Minister Anurag Thakur and Minister of State for Sports Nisit Pramanik gave a formal send-off to the first batch of Indian athletes for the Tokyo Olympics at New Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport last evening. The contingent, comprising 88 persons, includes 54 athletes, support staff and Indian Olympic Association representatives. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Thakur said the sportspersons are representing India and the good wishes of 135 crore Indians are with them.
ओलंपिक में रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए जो भारत के खिलाड़ी जा रहे हैं वो अपनी मेहनत, अपने अनुशासन, अपनी निष्ठा के कारण यहाँ तक पहुंचे और मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है ये अपनी पूरी ताकत भी लगाएंगे, लेकिन कोई मानसिक दबाव न हो, ये हम सबका प्रयास रहना चाहिए। इसलिए उनको हौसला बढ़ाने के लिए हम सब लोग आए थे। हमने अपनी ओर से प्रयास किया, मंत्रालय ने मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में, ताकि इन खिलाड़ियों को हर तरह की सुविधा मिल सके और टोक्यो में भी कोई दिक्कत न आए, उसका भी हर संभव प्रयास कर रहे हैं। मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है भारत के खिलाड़ी तिरंगे का मान सम्मान करेंगे।
127 Indian athletes have qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, which is a record, overhauling the 117 that had qualified for the Rio Olympics. Listeners from all corners of the country are participating in the Olympic quiz with AIR, launched by AIR News. Many listeners have emailed us the answers. The first correct answer to Friday's question was sent by Shreyansh Ghade, a resident of Bhilai in Chhattisgarh. He becomes the winner of our quiz. Many congratulations to Shreyansh from the entire team of AIR News. To participate in the Olympic quiz, tune into our program SportsCan at 7:20 p.m. every day.
In cricket, the first match of the three-match ODI series between India and Sri Lanka will be played at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo today. The match starts at 3 p.m. The Indian side is led by Shikhar Dhawan and coached by Rahul Dravid. The series, comprising as many T20 internationals, was originally scheduled to begin on the 13th of July but was postponed due to COVID-19 positive cases in the host's camp. All eyes will be on the Indian team as it has 6 uncapped players like Devdutt Padikkal, Nitish Rana, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Chetan Sakharia, Varun Chakravarti and Krishnappa Gautam. On the other hand, the Lankan side is also missing some of its top players. And now let us take a look at the weather today. The national capital Delhi is likely to experience generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Temperature will hover between 28 and 35 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 30 degrees. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will vary between 24 and 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The city will observe a minimum temperature of 28 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 34 degrees. Srinagar will experience partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Temperature will hover between 23 and 32 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The minimum temperature will be 29 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 35 degrees. Leh is expected to have partly cloudy sky. The minimum and maximum temperature will be between 15 and 33 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between 19 and 40 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will experience thunderstorms. The minimum temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 36 degrees. Guwahati will have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature will be around 25 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 32 degrees. Imphal will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The city will observe a minimum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 30 degrees.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has praised retired Army officer Major Pramila Singh for supporting destitute animals. In a letter to her, Prime Minister Modi said her initiative is a source of inspiration for society. Major Pramila Singh arranged for food and treatment of animals from her savings. Prime Minister wrote, "This unprecedented crisis is difficult for animals also, and everyone should be sensitive towards their needs and pain." During the corona-induced lockdown, Major Pramila Singh and her father, Shyamveer Singh, took care of helpless and destitute animals. Major Pramila, who hails from Kota in Rajasthan, and her father arranged for food and treatment of stray animals roaming on the streets with their personal deposits.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Government calls all-party meet ahead of monsoon session of Parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and prominent leaders of opposition attend. 25 people killed in wall collapse and landslide incidents in Mumbai following heavy rain. President and Prime Minister express grief. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 40 crore doses mark. COVID recovery rate stands at 97.31%. Odisha conducts over 1.5 crore COVID tests. 10-day curfew begins in Manipur to contain spike in COVID cases. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha tells Jammu and Kashmir officials to take proactive steps to facilitate the return of Kashmiri Pandit community. Death toll due to floods in Western Germany and Belgium rises to 170, hundreds still missing. And in cricket, first of the 3-match ODI series between India and Sri Lanka to be played in Colombo today. And with that, we end the Midday News.